Okay, we're back. Sorry. I don't think the stream was really working. I'm testing it here. There we go. I don't think it was working before, so you guys missed a lot. I'm sorry. I don't know why it wasn't working. There we go. Okay, well, it's fixed now. Alright, so let's carry on. Continue with, we're getting ready for bed. We already washed our face and brushed our teeth and changed into our pajamas, so now all that's left is to put on the dentures. As you know, I got these at Affordable Dentures. They have the most affordable dentures, so I recommend them. Highly recommend Affordable Dentures if you want a dentures that's affordable. Then we're gonna brush our teeth. Oh, I mean our hair. I don't know the difference between teeth and hair, apparently. And unfortunately, when I was moving at my dad's house the other day, I got 23 bug bites. So I have to spray them. I want to show you some of them. Bug bite there. That one's a nasty one. Actually, there's another one. Another one. Another one. And maybe you can't see all of them in this lighting, but there's 23. There's 2 more. I mean, that's just like all over my leg, everywhere. It's really, really itchy. It's very unfortunate. And I'm not quite happy about it. It's not comfortable, I'll tell you that. So I'm just going to spray it with this stuff. It's really just like essential oils and stuff. It doesn't work that much because there's not very much essential oils in it. Hello, SG Havoc. I'm spraying my legs with like essential oil stuff because I got 23 bug bites and it itches really bad. Yeah, I was just showing you guys my bug bites, but I'll show you again. Just like, you can't see all 23 of them because some of them are really tiny, but there's a ton of them, like all over my legs, and it's really itchy and annoying. 23 bug bites, I know. It is a lot of bug bites. It is very uncomfortable. Okay, so we're gonna continue getting ready for bed. Oh, I got something in the mail that I wanted to show you guys before we go to bed. I'm gonna show you. I don't know if I have any scissors, so I'll just have to open up with my hands. Bruh, say what? Yeah, a lot of bug bites. Hello, Mr. Grimunded. Okay, so you down for a minute. You stay. So just got this in the mail from Latote. It's the clothes I ordered. So some of you may have seen my shopping stream where I ordered the clothes and now they finally are here. So I'm going to show you what I got. So I got this. It is a really cute little romper. It's got like shorts at the bottom and pockets, and it's like a halter top. So it looks kind of like that. It's really cute. The back looks like this. So I think it's super cute and fun, and it's really, really, really soft. So you'll have to see my future streams. I'll wear this at some point on the stream. And if it's warm enough, I'll wear it to TwitchCon. Then I also got some accessories to go with it. So we got these really cute earrings that are little pineapples. So those are cute. And I got this pretty turquoise necklace. It's got a lot of beads on it. So this, and I'll wear the whole thing together to TwitchCon if it's warm enough, and one of my future streams. So that's fun. So new clothes, always exciting. I'll put that aside for now. And I got some more stuff in the mail. I went to Christmas shopping. And I got this cool, oh, stupid glare, can't really see it. Okay, there we go. This is FNAF Jack-O-Bonnie. So it's like Jack-O-Lantern Bonnie, and it's exclusive to Barnes & Noble, so you can only get them at Barnes & Noble. So it looks like this. So it's pretty cool, and I think it's supposed to glow in the dark. Yeah, it glows in the dark. So I don't know, we're gonna have to test this. I'm gonna put it like next to the light for a while and see if it glows. Let's see. How long do you have to keep glow in the dark things next to the light? Let's put it there for a minute. Okay. Let's see if that was long enough, if it will glow in the dark. Oh, it's kind of glowing. You guys, I don't know if you can really tell on the stream. I don't think you can really see it. But the eyes are like glowing bright orange. So those eyes in the dark kind of glow bright orange. But for some reason it doesn't show up on the stream really well. That sucks. Do you have any other socials apart from Twitter and Facebook, like Snapchat or Insta? Yeah, I have Instagram. It's Karinsky23 on Instagram. Yep. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Number 231, Five Nights at Freddy's Jack-O-Bonnie. Pretty cool. I'm excited about that. And then I got 2 of these Harry Potter mini vinyls. They're like mysteries, and they're Barnes & Noble exclusive, so you can get any one of these. And the 4 at the bottom you can only get from Barnes & Noble. So far I already have the Ron. Where's Ron? Ron on a Sorting Hat. 1. So I got 2 of those. Very exciting. And then I got this. Nightmare Before Christmas little minis, mini pops. So they also glow in the dark. Again, you probably won't be able to see it on the stream, but you got Jack, Sally, and Oogie Boogie. So let's see if I'll try. I'm still gonna try to glow it in the dark, but I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Okay, let's see if that worked at all. I didn't do it quite long enough. You can kind of see the Oogie Boogie. Do you see like the very small shadow of him? He's glowing green, and I bet you would glow even brighter if I put it in the light for longer. So this is also Barnes & Noble exclusive kit. You can only get from Barnes & Noble. So that one's really cool. I bought 2 of those. So basically my plan with these is I'm going to sell them for our stream, to make money for our stream. And then I'll probably give one away. I don't know which one I'm going to give away yet. So I'll probably do a giveaway maybe for Halloween at the end of this month when we get... if we reach our goal of 166 followers by Halloween, then I'll probably give away the Nightmare Before Christmas set, because I think that's the coolest one, and I think everyone would like them. But, you know, I can give away a different one if you guys prefer the FNAF or you prefer the Harry Potter mystery kit. So there's going to be some giveaways, and then I'm also selling them on eBay. So if you guys like these and you want to help support the stream by purchasing one, you can help by buying one on PayPal or through eBay. So that's just another way I'm raising money for the stream. So yeah, cool. I'm excited about those. I just love Funko. They're so cool. It's so fun to collect, and I like that you can take them out of the box, but they still are in mint condition because the box is meant to be opened. So that way you can make sure everything's kosher. I also have some other ones coming in the mail, which I'll show you when they get here, which are limited edition Ginny. So I think you guys will really like those. I'll show you when they get here. Okay, so we managed to show you all the things I shopped for. Oh, I gotta turn the lights off. That's what I gotta do. Turn off our crystal rocks and dragon lights area. And of course I have to leave the reading light on. And let's get ready for reading. Oh, I wanted to wear a hat today, if I can find it. There it is. Okay. Let's get ready for reading. Now, if we're gonna read Chapter 2 of Harry Potter, we've got to have our music in the background. So let's get that going. Make sure my hat looks good. Hey, would you stop thumping over there? The rabbits like to thump at everything. I don't know what people were looking up the last time they were on this YouTube account, but there's some weird thing showing up here, like random chiropractor stuff. Stop your thumping. Stop it, I say. They're like doing it on purpose now. They're like, stop what? Stop what? Stop what? Rabbits. So snarky. Alright, my friends, here we are. I feel like something is missing. Hold the moment. Hold the moment. All right, so that feels better. Stay up, Pat. Okay, here we are. Still don't like the way my pillows are propped up. Alright, so last week we read Chapter 1, The Boy Who Lived, and we learned that some mysterious things are going down in the world between wizards and muggles, and a baby has been dropped off at the Dursleys for their care. We met a few characters: Professor McGonagall, who can change into a cat, Dumbledore, and Hagrid, as well as Mr. Dursley, Mrs. Dursley, and Baby Dudley. So now we are moving on to Chapter 2, The Vanishing Glass. Hello, Andrew the lady. Thanks for the follow. Okay. Must get into our reading voice. Nearly 10 years had passed since the Dursleys had woken up to find their nephew on the front step. But Privet Drive had hardly changed at all. The sun rose on the same tidy front gardens and lit up the brass number 4 on the Dursleys' front door. It crept into their living room, which was almost exactly the same as it had been on the night when Mr. Dursley had seen that fateful news report about the owls. Only the photographs on the mantelpiece really showed how much time had passed. 10 years ago, there had been lots of pictures of what looked like a large pink beach ball wearing different colored bobbled hats. But Dudley Dursley was no longer a baby, and now the photograph showed a large blonde boy riding his first bicycle on a roundabout at the fair, playing a computer game with his father, being hugged and kissed by his mother. The room held no sign at all that another boy lived in the house too. Yet Harry Potter was still there, asleep at the moment, but not for long. His Aunt Petunia was awake, and it was her shrill voice which made the first noise of the day. "Up! Get up now!" Harry woke with a start. His aunt rapped at the door again. "Up!" she screeched. Harry heard her walking towards the kitchen, and then the sound of the frying pan being put on the cooker. He rolled onto his back and tried to remember the dream he had been having. It had been a good one. There had been a flying motorbike in it. He had a funny feeling he'd had the same dream before. His aunt was back outside the door. "Are you up yet?" she demanded. "Nearly." I don't know what my Harry voice is going to be. What should Harry's voice be? Because he's still a young'un, but he's a boy. "Nearly." That sounds very Harry, I think. That's the best I can do right now. Okay. "Nearly," said Harry. "Well, get a move on! I want you to look after the bacon, and don't you dare let it burn. I want everything perfect on Dudley's birthday." Harry groaned. "What did you say?" his aunt snapped through the door. Nothing. Dudley's birthday. How could he have forgotten? Harry got slowly out of bed and started looking for socks. He found a pair under his bed, and after pulling a spider off of one of them, put them on. Ugh. Harry was used to spiders because the cupboard under the stairs was full of them, and that was where he slept. When he was dressed, he went down the hall into the kitchen. The table was almost hidden beneath all of Dudley's birthday presents. It looked as though Dudley had gotten the new computer he wanted, not to mention the second television and the racing bike. Exactly why Dudley wanted a racing bike was a mystery to Harry, as Dudley was very fat and hated exercise, unless of course it involved punching somebody. Dudley's favorite punch bag was Harry, but he couldn't often catch him. Harry didn't look it, but he was very fast. Perhaps it had something to do with living in a dark cupboard, but Harry had always been small and skinny for his age. He looked even smaller and skinnier than he really was, because all he had to wear were old clothes of Dudley, and Dudley was about 4 times bigger than he was. Harry had thin, knobbly knees, black hair, and bright green eyes. Which, if you notice in the movies, his eyes are blue, not green, so there you go. He wore round glasses held together with a lot of sellotape because of all the times Dudley had punched him in the nose. The only thing Harry liked about his own appearance was a very thin scar on his forehead, which was shaped like a bolt of lightning. He had it as long as he could remember, and the first question he could ever remember asking Aunt Petunia was how he got it. "In the car crash when your parents died," she said, "and don't ask questions." Don't ask questions. That was the first rule for a quiet life with the Dursleys. Uncle Vernon entered the kitchen as Harry was turning over the bacon. "Comb your hair," he barked, by way of a morning greeting. About once a week, Uncle Vernon looked over the top of his newspaper, shouted that Harry needed a haircut. Harry must have had more haircuts than the rest of the boys in his class put together. But it made no difference. His hair simply grew that way, all over the place. Seems good. Ugh! Not a fan of this picture at all because there's so many spiders. Power up, Whitgrin, power up R. Oh, bummer, unfortunately, with my awesome app I'm using, I can't see the emotes. But thank you for the emotes. Look at that, there's Harry, a boy of 10, and look at those spiders in the cupboard with him. That's a lot of spiders. Why would not be happy with that many spiders? Okay, but there's even more spiders on the other page. Look at that. All over. Spiders, spiders, spiders. Harry was frying eggs by the time Dudley arrived in the kitchen with his mother. Dudley looked a lot like Uncle Vernon. He had a large pink face, not much neck, small watery blue eyes, and thick blonde hair that lay smoothly on his thick fat head. Aunt Petunia often said that Dudley looked like a baby angel. Harry often said that Dudley looked like a pig in a wig. Harry put the plates of egg and bacon on the table, which was difficult as there wasn't much room. Dudley, meanwhile, was counting his presents. His face fell. 36, he said, looking up at his mother and father. That's 2 less than last year. Darling, you haven't counted Auntie Marge's present. See, it's here under this big one in front of Mommy and Daddy. All right, 37 then, said Dudley, going red in the face. Harry, who could see a huge Dudley tantrum coming on, began wolfing down his bacon as fast as possible in case Dudley turned the table over. Aunt Petunia obviously scented danger too, because she said quickly, "And we'll buy you another 2 presents while we're out today. How's that, Popkin?" 2 more presents, is that all right? Dudley thought for a moment. It looked like hard work. Finally he said slowly, "So I'll have 39, sweetums," said Aunt Petunia. "Oh!" Dudley sat down heavily and grabbed the nearest parcel. "All right, then." Uncle Vernon chuckled. "Ho, little Tyke wants his money's worth. Just like his father. Atta boy, Dudley." He ruffled Dudley's hair. At that moment the telephone rang and Aunt Petunia went to answer it while Harry and Uncle Vernon watched Dudley unwrap the racing bike, a cine camera, a remote control aeroplane, 16 new computer games, and a video recorder. He was ripping the paper off a gold wristwatch when Aunt Petunia came back from the telephone looking both angry and worried. "Bad news, Vernon," she said. "Mrs. Figg's broken her leg. She can't take him." She jerked her head in Harry's direction. Dudley's mouth fell open in horror, but Harry's heart gave a leap. Every year on Dudley's birthday, his parents took him and a friend out for the day to adventure parks, hamburger bars, or the cinema. Every year, Harry was left behind with Mrs. Figg, a mad old lady who lived 2 streets away. Harry hated it there. The whole house smelled of cabbage, and Mrs. Figg made him look at photographs of all the cats she'd ever owned. "Now what?" said Aunt Petunia, looking furiously at Harry as though he'd planned this.
Harry knew he ought to feel sorry that Mrs. Figg had broken her leg, but it wasn't easy when he reminded himself it would be a whole year before he had to look at Tibbles, Snowy, Mr. Paws, and Tufty again. "You could phone Marge," Uncle Vernon suggested. "Don't be silly, Vernon. She hates the boy." The Dursleys often spoke about Harry like this, as though he wasn't there, or rather as though he was something very nasty that couldn't understand them, like a slug. "What about what's-her-name, your friend Yvonne?" "On holiday in Majorca," snapped Aunt Petunia. "You could just leave me here," Harry put in hopefully. He'd be able to watch what he wanted on television for a change, maybe even have a go on Dudley's computer. Aunt Petunia looked as though she had swallowed a lemon. "And come back and find the house in ruins," she snarled. "I won't blow up the house," said Harry, but they weren't listening. "I suppose we could just take him to the zoo," said Aunt Petunia, "and leave him in the car." "That car's new. He's not sitting in it alone." Dudley began to cry loudly. In fact, he wasn't really crying. It had been years since he really cried, but he knew that if he screwed up his face and wailed, his mother would give him anything he wanted. "Dinky Duddy Dums, don't cry! Mommy won't let him spoil your special day!" she cried, flinging her arms around him. "I don't want him to come," Dudley yelled between huge pretend sobs. "He always spoils everything." He shot Harry a nasty grin through the gap in his mother's arms. Just then the doorbell rang. "Oh, good Lord, they're here!" said Aunt Petunia frantically, and a moment later Dudley's best friend, Piers Polkiss, walked in with his mother. Piers was a scrawny boy with a face like a rat. He was usually the one who held people's arms behind their backs while Dudley hit them. Dudley stopped pretending to cry at once. Half an hour later, Harry, who couldn't believe his luck, was sitting in the back of the Dursleys' car with Piers and Dudley on the way to the zoo for the first time in his life. His aunt and uncle hadn't been able to think of anything else to do with him. But before they'd left, Uncle Vernon had taken Harry aside. "I'm warning you," he had said, putting his large purple face right up close to Harry's. "I'm warning you now, boy. Any funny business, anything at all, and you'll be in the cupboard from now until Christmas." "I'm not going to do anything," said Harry. "Honestly." But Uncle Vernon didn't believe him. No one ever did. The problem was strange things often happened around Harry. It was just no good telling the Dursleys he didn't make them happen. Once, Aunt Petunia, tired of Harry coming back from the barber's looking as though he hadn't been at all, had taken a pair of kitchen scissors and cut his hair so short he was almost bald except for his fringe, which she had left to hide that horrible scar. Dudley had laughed himself silly at Harry, who spent a sleepless night imagining school the next day, where he was already laughed at for his baggy clothes and sellotaped glasses. Next morning, however, he had gotten up to find his hair exactly as it had been before Petunia had sheared it off. He had been given a week in the cupboard for this, even though he had tried to explain that he couldn't explain how it had grown back so quickly. Another time, Aunt Petunia had been trying to force him into a revolting jumper of Dudley's, brown with orange bubbles. The harder she tried to pull it on, the smaller it seemed to become, until finally it might have fitted a glove puppet, but certainly wouldn't fit Harry. Aunt Petunia had decided it must have shrunk in the wash, and to his great relief, Harry wasn't punished. On the other hand, he'd gotten in trouble for being found on the roof of the old school kitchens. Dudley's gang had been chasing him as usual when, as much to Harry's surprise as anyone, there he was, sitting on the chimney. "Hi, Vutar, welcome to the stream." The Dursleys had received a very angry letter from Harry's headmistress telling them Harry had been climbing school buildings, but all he tried to do, as he shouted at Uncle Vernon through the locked door of his cupboard, was jump behind the big bins outside the kitchen doors. Harry supposed that the wind must have caught him mid-jump. But today, nothing was going to go wrong. It was even worth being with Dudley and Piers, to be spending the day somewhere that wasn't school, his cupboard, or Mrs. Figg's cabbage-smelling living room. While he drove, Uncle Vernon complained to Aunt Petunia. He liked to complain about things. People at work, Harry, the council, Harry, the bank, and Harry were just a few of his favorite subjects. This morning it was motorbikes. "Roaring along like maniacs, the young hoodlums," he said, as a motorbike overtook them. "I had a dream about a motorbike," said Harry, remembering suddenly. "It was flying." Uncle Vernon nearly crashed into the car in front. He turned right around in his seat and yelled at Harry, his face like a gigantic beetroot with a mustache. "Motorbikes don't fly!" Dudley and Piers sniggered. "Is this your real voice, or are you in character?" "Well, it is my real voice. I don't have a non-real voice, but I can make my voice sound like different characters for the story, so is that what you mean? Then I am making my voice sound different for different purposes." "I know they don't," said Harry. "It was only a dream." But he wished he hadn't said anything. If there was one thing the Dursleys hated even more than his asking questions, it was his talking about anything, acting in a way it shouldn't. No matter if it was a dream or even a cartoon, they seemed to think he might get dangerous ideas. It was a very sunny Saturday, and the zoo was crowded with families. The Dursleys bought Dudley and Piers large chocolate ice creams at the entrance, and then, because the smiling lady in the van had asked Harry what he wanted before they could hurry him away, they bought him a cheap lemon ice lolly. It wasn't bad either, Harry thought, licking it as they watched a gorilla scratching its head, and looking remarkably like Dudley, except that it wasn't blonde. So here's a picture of the gorilla that kind of looks like Dudley. You can see. Kind of look the same. One's eating a carrot and one's eating ice cream. Harry had the best morning he had had in a long time. He was careful to walk away a little way apart from the Dursleys so that Dudley and Piers, who were starting to get bored with the animals by lunchtime, wouldn't fall back on the favorite hobby of hitting him. They ate in the zoo restaurant, and when Dudley had had a tantrum because his knickerbocker glory wasn't big enough, Uncle Vernon bought him another one, and Harry was allowed to finish the first. Harry felt afterwards that he should have known it was all too good to last. After lunch, they went to the reptile house. It was cool and dark in here, with lit windows all along the walls. Behind the glass, all sorts of lizards and snakes were crawling and slithering over bits of wood and stone. Dudley and Piers wanted to see huge poisonous cobras and thick man-crushing pythons. Dudley quickly found the largest snake in the place. It could have wrapped its body twice around Uncle Vernon's car and crushed it into a dustbin. But at the moment, it didn't look in the mood. In fact, it was fast asleep. Do you read every stream? Oh, do you mean do I stream other things? So this is my bedtime stream, and every bedtime stream we read a book together. And when I'm not doing bedtime streams, I stream during the day and I play video games. Today I was playing Life is Strange, and tomorrow I will probably play some Paladins. So if you like to watch video game streams, I also do those as well. And sometimes I do IRL streams, and go on walks, karaoke. I do a variety of things. Dudley stood with his nose pressed against the glass, staring at the glistening brown coils. "Make it move," he whined at his father. Uncle Vernon tapped on the glass, but the snake didn't budge. "Do it again," Dudley ordered. Uncle Vernon rapped at the glass smartly with his knuckles, but the snake just snoozed on. "This is boring," Dudley moaned. He shuffled away. Harry moved in front of the tank and looked intently at the snake. He wouldn't have been surprised if it had died of boredom itself. No company except stupid people drumming their fingers on the glass, trying to disturb it all day long. "Thank you, Butar, for the follow. Welcome to the famski." It was worse than having a cupboard as a bedroom, where the only visitor was Aunt Petunia hammering on the door to wake you up. At least he got to visit the rest of the house. So here is Harry looking at the snake. The snake suddenly opened its beady eyes. Slowly, very slowly, it raised its head until its eyes were on level with Harry's. It winked. Like that, probably. Harry stared. Then he looked quickly around to see if anyone was watching. "Oh, Butar, thank you very much. Thank you so much for the bits. I love you too. Thank you. 1,000 bits, that's amazing. Totally appreciate it. Thank you so much. I think that would probably make you our stream boss of the day, so when you come back tomorrow, you'll get to see your face on the stream boss." Harry stared. Then he looked quickly around to see if anyone was watching. They weren't. He looked back at the snake and winked too. That's me winking. The snake jerked its head toward Uncle Vernon and Dudley, then raised its eyes to the ceiling. It gave Harry a look that said quite plainly, "I get that all the time." "I know," Harry murmured through the glass, though he wasn't sure the snake could hear him. "Must be really annoying." The snake nodded vigorously. That's how snakes nod. "Where do you come from anyway?" Harry asked. The snake jabbed its tail at a little sign next to the glass. Harry peered at it. A boa constrictor. Brazil. Was it nice there? The boa constrictor jabbed its tail at the sign again, and Harry read on. "This specimen was bred in the zoo." "Oh, I see. So you've never been to Brazil?" As the snake shook its head, a deafening shout behind Harry made both of them jump. "Dudley! Mr. Dursley, come and look at the snake! You won't believe what it's doing!" Dudley came waddling towards them as fast as he could. "Out of the way, you!" he said, punching Harry in the ribs. Caught by surprise, Harry fell hard on the concrete floor. What came next happened so fast that no one saw how it happened. 1 second, Piers and Dudley were leaning right up close to the glass. The next, they had leapt back with howls of horror. Harry sat up and gasped. The glass front of the boa constrictor's tank had vanished. The great snake was uncoiling itself rapidly, slithering out onto the floor. People throughout the reptile house screamed and started running for the exits. As the snake slid swiftly past him, Harry could have sworn a low hissing voice said, "Brazil, here I come. Thanks, amigo." The keeper of the reptile house was in shock. "But the glass," he kept saying. Where did the glass go?" The zoo director himself made Aunt Petunia a cup of strong, sweet tea while he apologized over and over. Piers and Dudley could only gibber. As far as Harry had seen, the snake hadn't done anything except snap playfully at their heels as it passed. But by the time they were all back in Vernon's car, Dudley was telling them how it had nearly bitten off his leg, while Piers was swearing it had tried to squeeze him to death. But worst of all, for Harry at least, was Piers calming down enough to say, "Harry was talking to it, weren't you, Harry?" That's not good. Uncle Vernon waited until Piers was safely out of the house before starting on Harry, and this is probably the best time to show this picture of the snake and the zookeepers. Everyone running away. Dudley. Uncle Vernon was so angry he could hardly speak. He managed to say, "Go, cupboard. Stay. No meals," before he collapsed into a chair and Aunt Petunia had to run and get him a large brandy. Harry lay in his dark cupboard much later, wishing he had a watch. He didn't know what time it was, and he couldn't be sure the Dursleys were asleep yet. Until they were, he couldn't risk sneaking into the kitchen for some food. He lived with the Dursleys almost 10 years. 10 miserable years, as long as he could remember, ever since he'd been a baby and his parents had died in that car crash. He couldn't remember being in the car when his parents had died. Sometimes, when he strained his memory during long hours in his cupboard, he came up with a strange vision. A blinding flash of green light and a burning pain on his forehead. This he supposed was the crash, though he couldn't imagine where all the green light came from. He couldn't remember his parents at all. His aunt and uncle never spoke about them, and of course he was forbidden to ask. There were no photographs of them in the house. When he had been younger, Harry had dreamed and dreamed of some unknown relation coming to take him away, but it had never happened. The Dursleys were the only family. Yet sometimes he thought, or maybe hoped, that strangers in the streets seemed to know him. Very strange strangers they were, too. A tiny man in a violet top hat had bowed to him once, while out shopping with Aunt Petunia and Dudley. After asking Harry furiously if he knew the man, Aunt Petunia had rushed them out of the shop without buying anything. A wild-looking old woman dressed in all green had waved merrily at him at once on a bus. A bald man in a very long purple coat had actually shaken his hand in the street the other day, and then walked on without saying a word. The weirdest thing about all these people was the way they seemed to vanish the second Harry tried to get a closer look. At school, Harry had no one. Everybody knew that Dudley's gang hated that odd Harry Potter and his baggy clothes and broken glasses, and nobody liked to disagree with Dudley's gang. Oh, my friends, our time is coming to an end. We have reached the end of Chapter 2, The Vanishing Glass. Just think it's so sad that Harry here is very famous in the wizarding world, and clearly all these people who are coming up to him know him as Harry Potter, and he doesn't realize that he's famous or that he's special at all, but he is. He's real special. But at school, he's just bullied. And even though I feel bad for Harry Potter, I kind of think it's good, and I think Dumbledore was in the right when he gave Harry to Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon, because he did grow up with humility, unlike Dudley, who was spoiled. Harry may have been spoiled if he had grown up being so famous around wizards and could do magic, but since he was born feeling like an outcast, he grew up humble, and he cares, and he has a good heart, so I think in the end it will be good for him. Join us tomorrow when we read the letters from No One. I'm glad you enjoy this stream. Yes, it is kind of a relaxing stream. It's definitely something that you can listen to while you're trying to go to bed or just relax for the evening. I'm glad you found us, and thank you for the bits and for your appreciation. I hope you come back tomorrow. We'll be reading Chapter 3, The Letters from No One. So we're closing our book for this evening. Thank you to all of my followers and viewers for the evening. I truly appreciate you joining me today. Good night, everybody. Have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow for more Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I love you all. Mwah. And we turn off the lights.